Hello students, welcome to the course in operating system. Today in this lecture we are going to start the different process scheduling algorithms. And previous lecture we have already discussed about various times related to a process, that is arrival time, burst time, starting time, completion time, turnaround time, waiting time, response time, etc. And also discussed throughput and system efficiency. Now, before starting the actual algorithms, now see the whole algorithms are categorized into two categories. Number one, preemptive algorithm, and number two, non-preemptive algorithm. So what is this? Preemptive algorithm. Actually, when a process switches from running state to ready state and waiting state to ready state, then this type of algorithm is called preemptive algorithm. Actually, here basically if a process is going to enter in CPU more than one time, then it is preemptive. Okay, so this is the point actually. And example of preemptive algorithm, actually we can say shortest remaining time first. Shortest time first. Okay, so this is preemptive algorithm. Now what is about non-preemptive algorithm? In non-preemptive scheduling, a process retains control of the CPU until the process is terminated. So a process is called non-preemptive when it switches from running state to waiting state, and when a process terminates. Okay, so we can say if a process if a process is going to enter in CPU only for one time, then it is non-preemptive. Okay, so this is non-preemptive algorithm, and the perfect example of non-preemptive algorithm, that is FCFS algo, first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So this is actually non-preemptive scheduling algorithm. Okay, so these are the two types of algorithm, that is preemptive and non-preemptive. Okay, now the next, this is scheduling algorithms. Using this algorithm, short-term scheduler can select a process from ready queue and put it into CPU. So basically, in our ready queue, there are so many processes are there, and they are ready for execution. Now we have to choose a particular process from ready queue and we have to put it into CPU. So in which basis we can select the particular process from ready queue? So here the selection is done by this scheduling algorithm. Okay, so each scheduling algorithm, we have a selection criteria, selection process, and through this criteria, the algorithm can select a process from ready queue and put it into CPU. Now, how to analyze the scheduling algorithm? Actually, for better algorithm, for better algo, number one, CPU utilization should be maximum. Number two, throughput should be also maximum. Efficiency also maximum. Waiting time it should be minimum. Turnaround time it should be also minimum. And response time should be also minimum, right? So this is called scheduling criteria. So which algorithm is better? So we have to check these 6 points, that is CPU utilization should be maximum, throughput should be maximum, efficiency should be maximum, waiting time, turn around time, and response time should be minimum. So these are called the scheduling criteria. So if we have to check the efficiency of an algorithm, then we have to check these points only. Okay. Now, the first scheduling algorithm which we have to study, the most simplest scheduling algorithm, this is actually first come first serve algo. So this is our algo 1. First come first serve, FCFS algo. So it is basically the simplest algo. And here the criteria, actually scheduling criteria, in which basis we have to schedule it, actually it is arrival time. Arrival time, it is the criteria of this algorithm. So assigns the CPU to the process which comes first in ready queue. So in ready queue we have so many processes, but we have to select that process which one arrived in ready queue first. Okay, so that's why it is called first come and first serve. And here the mode of this algorithm, actually mode of this algorithm means it is preemptive or non-preemptive. So it is a pure non-preemptive algorithm. Non-preemptive. Okay, so each process can enter only one time in CPU. Okay, so mode of this algorithm actually non-preemptive, and this is the process state transition diagram in case of non-preemptive algorithm. So here we have new state, and it is, we know that it is actually long-term scheduler. Here we have ready state. Here we have CPU, and here we have short-term scheduler and dispatcher. And here we have terminate state. Terminate. Right? So in this particular non-preemptive algorithm, we have this type of scheduling diagram. So there are only 4 states. Okay, and here from CPU to again ready, this is not here. From CPU to waiting, this is not here. Right? So we have 4 states here: new, ready, running, and terminate for non-preemptive scheduling algorithm. Okay, so now see an example, and using this example we can verify each and everything, that is throughput, efficiency, turnaround time, waiting time, response time, each and everything we can verify using this numerical problem, using this algorithm. Okay, so here given here given process arrival time and burst time. Okay, suppose process so this is given, this is also given, this is also given. So P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and suppose arrival time 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and burst time 3, 6, 4, 5, 2. And here we have to calculate, number one, throughput. We have to calculate number two, efficiency of the system. We have to calculate average turnaround time, average waiting time, and average response time. Average response time. Okay. So here given arrival time is not the actual time. So please verify it. Here given arrival time actually not the actual time. So lower number indicates earliest time. Lower number indicates earliest time, and we are going to assume that we start our CPU at 0. We start our CPU at 0, and from there we are going to count the entire schedule. Okay, and now using this data, here we have to draw a schedule chart. We have to draw a schedule chart, and this chart is also called Gantt chart, right? So now draw here a schedule chart. So actually what is schedule chart? Actually plot of burst time but considering arrival time. So the starting of this chart from 0, and now see this given data. So when the time is 0, that is at time 0, so in ready queue we have only P1. When time 0, we have in ready queue only P1. So obviously we have to assign P1. So the burst time of P1 3, that's why 0 to 3. Next process, that is P2. And burst time of P2 is 6, that's why the time should be 3 plus 6, that is 9. Next process, this is P3, and the burst time is 4, so it will be 9 plus 4, 13. Next P4, bus time is 18, bus time is 5, so it will be 13 plus 5, 18, and last process P5, this is 2, so this will be 20. So this is actually schedule chart, and we can say this is actually in CPU. So here see, P1 enters in CPU only once, P2 also, P3, P4 and P5. So this is actually non-preemptive algorithm. Now using this diagram we can calculate everything. So we can calculate starting time, we can calculate finished time or completion time or finish time, we can calculate turnaround time, we can calculate waiting time, and we can calculate response time. Okay, so each and everything we can calculate using this chart. So starting time we can calculate it direct from this chart, direct from chart, right? So now starting time of P1, so it is the starting time of P1, this is the starting time of P1, so starting time of P1 actually 0. This is the starting time of P2, this is 3. This is the starting time of P3, that is 9. This is starting time of P4, that is 13, and this is the starting time of P5, that is 18, right? So we can easily say what is the starting time for each process direct from the Gantt chart, and also we can say completion time or finish time, it is also from direct from chart. Direct from chart we can say this. So finish time of P1, so this is the finish time of P1, so 3. Finish time of P2, this is 9. Finish time of P3, that is 13. Finish time of P4, that is 18, and finish time of P5, that is 20. So we can easily say the starting time and finish time from this chart. Now turnaround time, and obviously we have seen what is the formula for turnaround time. So basically formula for turnaround time is nothing but finished time minus arrival time. So it is our finished time minus arrival time. Okay, so this is our finish time column and this is our arrival time column. So finish time for P1 is 3, arrival time 0. So 3 minus 0, that is 3. For P2, this is 9 minus 2, that is 7. 13 minus 4, 13 minus 4, that is 9. 18 minus 6, 18 minus 6, that is 12. 20 minus 8, that is also 12. So this is the turnaround time. Okay. Now waiting time. So to calculate waiting time, we have two formula. In case of waiting time, we can say starting time minus arrival time, starting time minus arrival time, or we can say turnaround time minus bus time. right? Starting time minus arrival time, or we can say turnaround time minus burst time, right? So starting time minus arrival time, so this is 0 minus 0, that is 0. And also you can verify turnaround time 3 minus burst time 3, so it is also 0, right? So anyone you can use. Now for P2, starting time 3, arrival time 2, that 3 minus 2, that is 1. Starting time for P3, starting time 9 minus 4, that is 5. For P4, starting time 13 minus 6, 13 minus 6, that is 7. Now for P5, starting time 18 minus 8, that is 10. So this is the waiting time for each process. Now response time. So response time actually fast response minus arrival time. So if the algorithm is non-preemptive, then then it is invalid for fast response, second response, etc. So here the only one response for each process. So that response we consider as fast response, right? So fast response actually for P1 is 0, for P2 is 3, for P3 is 9, etc. So here the fast response actually starting time. And if we consider starting time minus arrival time, so then it is nothing but waiting time. So it will be 0, 1, 5, 7, 10. And here the important point is, if the algorithm is non-preemptive, then waiting time and response time must be same. In case of non-preemptive algorithm, the waiting time and response time always be equal. So now calculate the different question. Now throughput is equal to number of process by total time. So here total number of process actually 5, and total time from this chart we can see total time actually 20. Okay, from 0 to 20. So this is actually the time throughput. Number 2, efficiency. Efficiency is equal to useful time by total time. So here useful time 20 and total time 20, so 100%. So it is actually 100%. So in this example, we actually ignore the dispatch latency time. That's why the efficiency is 100%. So we can say it is an ideal case. Actually efficiency can never be 100%, but here, if as we ignored the dispatch latency time, that's why here efficiency is 100%. Okay, now average turnaround time. So average turnaround time, this plus this plus this plus this plus this by 5, right? And average waiting time we can calculate from here. Also average response time we can calculate from here, right? So this is actually the first come first serve algorithm. And as here it is non-preemptive algorithm, so here the waiting time and response time should be equal. Please note it, waiting time and response time should be equal in case of non-preemptive algorithm. Okay, I think this problem is very much clear to you. So we already discussed there are seven types of times actually. This 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right? Here arrival time and bus time actually given, and we have to calculate the remaining 5. Okay. Now in example 2, in example 1 actually we ignored the dispatch latency. Now if we consider the dispatch latency, so suppose here given process P1, P2, P3, arrival time 0 1 2, bus time 3 2 1, and here given dispatch latency time is equal to, suppose d is equal to 1 unit. So here draw the schedule chart and calculate efficiency. Okay, draw the schedule chart and calculate the efficiency. So here every time we have to consider the dispatch latency time. So this is actually dispatch latency time, 1 time unit from 0 to 1. Then the first arrived process, that is P1. So here we have to assign P1 and its bus time 3. That's why 3 plus 1, that is 4. Then now we have to put the dispatch latency, that is 1 time unit. So 4 plus 1, that is 5. Now we have to put the process P1, P2. Okay, so here it will be 5 plus 2, that is 7. Now again we have to put the dispatch latency time for time unit 1, that is 8. And then now we have to schedule P3 up to 9. So this is actually the schedule chart. So in this case we have 3 unit for dispatch latency. This is for dispatch latency, this is also for dispatch latency, and this is also for dispatch latency, right? And now what will be the efficiency here? So here efficiency eta should be useful time by total time. So here total time actually 9, but useful time actually 6. So it will be 100%. So this is the efficiency. Okay, so here 3 unit time actually overhead. We know that the dispatch latency time actually pure overhead for our system. Okay, so here the efficiency is not 100% because here we consider the dispatch latency, but in example 1 we ignored the dispatch latency time. That's why there the efficiency was 100%. Actually we know that efficiency can never be 100%, but in an ideal case we consider it. For ideal case efficiency can be 100%. Okay, so I think this problem is very much clear to you. And in this particular case, in this particular first come first serve algorithm, actually this algorithm is very simple and very easy to implement. This is the advantages. And drawbacks, actually troublesome for the time sharing system. Here average waiting time is very high. And in this particular algorithm, we have convoy effect problem. Convoy effect problem that all other processes must have to wait for the one big process. So this is actually convoy effect, or sometimes we can say it starvation. The remaining processes are starved for a big one. Okay, so in case of starvation, the waiting time, the average waiting time is very high. Okay, so this is all about FCFS algorithm. So I hope this lecture is very much clear to you. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Thank you once again.